Hello friends, welcome to dangerouscurves.net. This is our third episode and today we have a very special guest, Itay Schiff. Itay is a VFX artist, a creative director, and as of recent, the founder and CEO of Astria, which provides tools for generative AI professionals in the fields of generative art creation for stills and video. And Itay will say more details about it later. So, hi Itay, how's it going?
Hey, Iran. So happy to be here.
Yes, so happy to have you. For the second time, I must say, because we already had this conversation and had tons of technical difficulties, but it was a good training for the real thing. So here we are again. And
Exactly.
yes, I'd be glad to hear about your professional history and how it led to generative AI. So please share with us.
It's pretty straightforward track. I've studied cinema in high school, and my father was a director, so I was in the territory from age zero. And um, and then I started as a technician in a post-production agency called Gravity. It's one of the prominent post-production agencies in Tel Aviv, and they were always very highly technical oriented, and I was very happy to start working then. I was beginning as a technician, and then I learned some 3D and some compositing, and then I had like a short, very good career in compositing for TV commercials. And pretty soon I ended up managing, large crews of artists, um, 3D artists, designers, motion designers, etc., video editors, to produce like mainly TV commercials, some music videos, maybe a little bit of TV series, but mainly ads. So that's my professional background, shortly.
Okay, and where did AI meet you? Or where did you meet AI?
Well, we had an interesting project where we wanted to use AI, and we got like a very early access to DALL-E 2, not so long ago, actually, like most of this territory. And I started playing with DALL-E 2, and pretty soon I was shocked that I mean, by two factors mainly. First of all, I was getting results. I was trying to use it to instruct my designers to get to the results that I wanted. But very soon I found out that I'm producing satisfying, designs way faster than the normal iterative design process with another person. And it was never exactly what I wanted, but it was good enough to get the conversation started. So I instantly fell in love with the tool. And on the other hand, it was super inspiring. I mean, to use it because it gave me ideas that I didn't came up with by myself. I mean, one example, maybe I had a brief. One of the briefs was a person bursting through a wall, yeah, which somehow had a connection to electric wires. And I was typing in, make a man jumping out of the wall through electric wires or whatever, and the machine gave me like a door made of, I mean, the model produced an image that had a door made of glowing blue electric wires, and a man coming through that virtual door in the wall. And I was shocked by, I mean, that great idea that I didn't came up with, and the model came up with. So I fell in love instantly. And yeah, that's it.
So what was the next step? Like, how did the fascination become a profession or a business?
So I was handling me not working and just generating all day long. But it was okay because it was complimentary. But soon enough, I have a friend, Alon Burg, which is our sons are friends in school, and we were bouncing ideas back and forth. I mean, I was showing him, look at this new tool. He showed me, look at it. He's he's an engineer, an amazing software engineer, and very savvy in machine learning. And we were showing each other like the new things that happening in the territory. And soon enough, he told me, let's do something. And we started working on Astria. And he was very, very, very quick to ship. I mean, he built it like in a month, which was amazing because he built an entire infrastructure and service. And I was constantly generating nice stuff to have on the site and having, showing in social media. And that was pretty much it. I mean, I very soon I understood that this is an opportunity I cannot miss, and this is a field that I want to get into. I was dreaming about developing the tools that would enable artists and creators to use this technology with even greater ease than it was currently available, and with more precision.
Mm-hmm. So you basically saw that I'm trying to understand like what was the problem that you were trying to come up with a solution to, the difficulty of communicating with this technology, maybe?
No, actually, the main problem that we tried to answer, which was my problem at work. I mean, I had clients and they had their own bank of ideas that they wanted to generate, like from the model, but it was not possible at the time. For instance, I had one commercial that we wanted the main character to be made out of wool. I mean, like a puppet of the main character. But the models, the general models, did not know that actor, which was famous in Israel, but none of the models knew him. So that's when we started to see how we can train a model on specific new ideas, which ended up being the core business of Astria.
Yeah, I see. So maybe let's dive a little bit into Astria's like a business model or what it actually is, what it gives professionals. I understand that you have a presentation to share with us.
Sure, I can maybe I'll just find it in a second.
Cool.
All right, do you have it?
Yes.
So we call it the Tailormade AI image generation, which is like training AI models to your specific needs. This is Alon and me, the team, and I can show you some use cases that we show, clients and investors and such.
Please do.
So the first very prominent use case that we encountered, and also demand was very high for it, was portrait. Of course, it was like the most low-hanging fruit. So this is an example for training. We're training on like something between 10 and 30 images of a person. In this case, me. We only show one picture here, but we train. The input to the model is somewhat between 10 and 30. And then by prompting, by guiding it through text, we generate images. So in this example, person, that's me, person as a space ranger in retro science fiction cover by Kelly Fears, generated this beautiful image of me on a cover of a sci-fi book. And of course, me as a model and me as an, I don't know, artistic something. Oh, sorry. This is Noga Areas, again, generated through this prompt. I've sent it to her, but still haven't had replies. So I'm waiting. And the grumpy cat, of course. How can we, move in the internet without him? And this dog, oh my God, I just fell in love with these dogs. It's one of your users did it, but I had to show it. I don't know why. He's so cute, isn't he?
Looks like a mixture between a rat and a dog.
Exactly. It's a space rat dog. So this is the first use case, yes, like portraits. The
Okay,
second use
let me
case,
just ask you
yeah,
something about this. I'm interested
sure.
in that. From your experience, is the most important in the variation of the images you input to the model?
Oh, very good question. I mean, people generally tend to, when they encounter such a thing that generates to themselves, they lean back on what they know. So they do like a 360 shots of themselves. Yeah.
Which is
Which is,
basically the same image.
it's basically the same image. It's also, I understand the notion, but it's totally wrong when training a new model. When these models, how they learn, they extract like unique features from the images that you upload. So when you train a model like we do, you have to have great variance in the pictures that you upload. That means pictures from, if like the subject is you, Eran, so you would have to upload about 20 images with great variance from different years, from with different haircuts, different clothes, different lighting conditions. Why is that so important? Because these are all factors that you don't want the model to learn. You just want him to learn. Keep saying him, right? You want the model to
Schreiher
learn.
that you won't get attacked on the social media.
No, it's definitely an it, right?
Yeah.
But I keep personalizing it. So you have to upload like great variants in order for it to learn your specific features. Like, so he wouldn't learn other features like your background or the same lighting conditions or your shirt. You want it to be as free from these features as possible. So a great variance of the training images is required.
So you need like the subject to be constant, but all of the rest to be varied. But
Exactly,
even
exactly,
like if
exactly.
you shoot yourself in different expressions, is that enough, or is it's not as good as in different?
Different expression is great because it gives extra variance to the expression.
Hmm.
But if the background, for instance, if you do it on the same couch or with the same wall, and it will repeat in the entirety of the training set, so the model cannot distinguish between you and that background.
I
So the
see.
background will be, you will try to prompt out of it, but the model will insist that it's a feature that you want to produce. So
Hmm.
you wouldn't get a great variance in your results.
And one more small short question about that: how do you see like the importance of the depth of the scanning, like the steps of that the machine takes when creating a model? Is it because as I see it, if you use more steps, then it's like a deeper or a better model, but then it also takes a ton of more
Exactly.
time.
Yeah, there's a great term called overfitting,
Mm-hmm.
which it doesn't only take more time. It also it can be like fixed on that set. The more steps you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about the first use case, which is portraits, and there was like a huge wave of users demanding portraits. They still want it, but I think the excitement of this phase is a bit behind us. The next big thing I think in this territory is probably product placement, which has like a huge potential economical value. So this is an example of like a training on a set of shoes and then generating something that looks like a 3D modeling of it, something that looks like an illustration of it, or a realistic photo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same with this car, just a random car I found on the internet, not really prestigious car, but I was able to train and get amazing results. I think it's part of it is that the base model knows about cars very much, but also so he was able to distinguish these specific cars from his knowledge of cars and produce amazing images. I mean, I find them very compelling and really good for for commercial use.
Definitely.
For my opinion, yeah. So, oh, this is just a hat I bought in the marketplace in order to introduce the ability to train on a subject, but it really shows that also the modeling industry is really will be threatened in the next few years because it generated beautiful models so easily with my hat on it on them.
So,
Uh,
sorry,
yeah,
just one question about this
sure.
slide. So how do you make the machine focus on an object rather than on an inanimate object rather than on a person?
Well, it has two factors in it. First of all, the training set that I uploaded to train the model on my hat was it consisted of images of my hat, not of me.
Mm,
So I shot my hat on on my wife, on my kids, just lying on the beach, on in different places. Yeah, but the element repeating in all the training set was just the hat.
I see.
Um, Usually on people. I mean, because I wanted, the model to know that
It's a wearable
it's
thing.
something that
Yeah,
yeah, it's something that comes in with people. It's not just
yeah.
a random object. But so that was the training set, and then another element in the training is that we specify like a class name when we train the model. We give it a set of pictures and a class name. In this case, a hat. In the former cases, a car or a person, a
Mm-hmm.
man, a woman. The It works. It's actually really interesting. The model then, I mean, our system works in a way that produces uh, a set of hundreds of pictures from the base model of the class name, in this case, hat. So it produces like hundreds of pictures of a hat, and it compares the set that it produces by its own to the to the training set. And by that, he learns the training set's unique features and can regenerate them.
I get it. All right.
Yeah. And then the next very prominent use case is style training, which I think is just beginning to show up. Like we're just beginning to see uses of it. For example, I've uploaded my favorite. It's not for commercial use, so I feel free to show it. But I've uploaded one of my favorite artists and trained like on 20 pictures of her art, and generated pretty good looking similar art to the style of that artist. And also this kind of 3D architectural style that was very strong in the last years. I was trying to generate it by 3D softwares for the last, I don't know, 5 years or so, and but I'm getting way better results by generating it in the machine learning model now.
Yeah.
So I was training on like 20 pictures of this architectural style, and I was generating things that were never in the training set, like a kitchen or a garden or a miniature set in that style.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually really surprised to witness that the machine learning could identified these unique features of the style so generally. It's such a general concept style. So, but it did learn the low saturation, the rounded curves, the color palette that the style had, and was able to reproduce it amazingly,
And also
really
to
to my
put it
surprise.
in the right context, like it kept it in the right like in the architectural context.
Exactly. I mean, I was prompting for architecture, but
I see.
I wonder what it would do with people if I tried to, generate people in this style.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a,
know. I
it's
haven't
it's
tested it yet.
interesting to do a mashup of like a style meets a totally different genre. Like how do you dress like a person or a shoe with a style that comes from architecture or from 3D modeling of a space.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and it's so fun to, that this territory invites experimentation so strongly.
Definitely. Yeah, recently I went to the flea market in Jaffa, and I found a bag full of old pictures from like the 30s, the 30s, the 50s, from different eras. And then I scanned them. I bought them like for 50 shekels, like maybe 5,000 images, 5,000 pictures in a pristine condition. I took them home
Uh-huh.
and I scanned some of them like into the computer, and then I brought them to Stable Diffusion for image to image, and the
Uh-huh.
results are amazing. I will share them later in a different like tutorial. It's
Wow.
amazing like to see. Yeah, if you have like a certain anchor to begin with, you can reach like it's way stronger than actual text. Like if you already have some pixels, then evolving from these pixels is easier for the machine. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, I would. It sounds amazing. I wonder what training would do with your 5,000 pictures.
Yeah.
Sounds super interesting. In this case, I trained the model on like this 3D model character, and I was able to. So the base model knows John Lennon and Albert Einstein and Rihanna.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to produce these famous characters in the style that I was training for.
Yeah.
That's amazing for me. And okay, so and that's the basic use case that we have. But very soon we we wanted to evolve into something else, and we started experimenting in the video territory. So these are like early experimentations on video generation. We're using mostly open code, but utilizing it and trying to make it as available to the public, to our users.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm still super excited from this territory of generating video, which is my ballpark. Um, and I think we're able to produce some really sweet and exciting experimentational things now, and we're just waiting for some clients to be brave enough to use this new technology. We were talking about this earlier, right?
Yeah, yeah, it will come. It will definitely come. It only needs one real brave client to bring the entire herd after it. So yeah, so this is Astria, super interesting and mind-opening, and uh, and recently you also produced or directed or created. I'm having a hard time defining your role in this. A beautiful clip for an amazing Israeli artist, Roy Kafri, which is super famous in Israel. Roy is a musician, a comedian, a director, super multi-talented guy, and you created a video clip for him using AI. So we'd love to hear your thoughts or your creation process, whatever you like to share.
Well, I mean, working with Roy, I've been working with him throughout his commercial career. I mean, he not when he was doing his amazing stuff on YouTube, but the moment he started producing television commercials, I was there to pick it up. I mean, I was totally in love with the guy. He's my favorite Israeli artist by far. Music and videos and comedy. So I was, when he saw my first experimentations with video, he said, "Whoa, we need to have a video like that." And I was like, "I can't do it. I have a startup now. I'm sorry, I cannot work on videos." But soon enough, how do you call it, the passion project, I couldn't stop generating more and more materials for him, and we started working on it more seriously. It took away attention from Astria for a week or two, which is painful, but I just couldn't resist it. Also working with Roy is very, very pleasurable. He's so full of ideas, amazing ideas, and it's really fun. So we were bouncing back like the script. I was showing him some stuff, and then he was writing down ideas for different parts of the video. And maybe we'll look for a second. What do you say?
Yeah, sure.
תהיו יפים וחשופים ורגועים עד שיהיה פה טוב. תהיו יפים ויחפים וקצת טרופים עד שיהיה פה טוב. אתם עושים לי בלגן, אבא, מישהו מתעצבן מרים כיסא פלסטיק לבן. אחלה, אם אתם ברע ומתחברים אל המקור. כפה, הסתכלו סביב, אתם מוקפים במגלשות. יזכרו, כי במקור אתם שיהיה פה טוב. תהיו יפים ויחפים וקצת טרופים עד שיהיה פה טוב. אוי לא הורידו לך עוקב, ביי ביי, מסכן לחץ כפתור עכשיו בראש יש לך אויב. וואי פיי, התנתק עכשיו ותתחבר אל תוך הזמן. שעתיים, תסתדר חבול, תגיד תודה ולך לישון. אולי תקום, נשמה יותר. תהיו יפים וחשופים ורגועים עד שיהיה פה טוב. תהיו יפים ויחפים וקצת טרופים עד שיהיה פה טוב. אם אני מטיף זה בגלל שנשבע לי, נהיה מאוחר לי. אם אני מציב זה בגלל שהכל טיק 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 נהיה לי גדול. טיק 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 טיק. אם אני מטיף זה בגלל שנשבע לי, נהיה מאוחר לי. אם אני מציב זה בגלל שהכל
So that's the video, and maybe I can show a little bit how the code to this video, how it was generated.
Yeah, the behind the scenes.
Okay, do you see?
Yes.
This is the entirety of the code for the video. I mean, it's really, really short. It's surprisingly short, I think, because in order to cover like this 4 minutes of video, 4 minutes or so, this was all that was written down. It starts with just a few lines of camera movement description and some parameters, but you can see it's not really complicated. And then we move on to describing what happens in every frame. So here you can see frame 0, frame 40, frame 75, frame 80. The process was I just put the audio track in the editing software, and I moved like to a specific frame, and I wrote down whatever I wanted to see. Yeah, and then to another specific frame, whatever I wanted to see there. And
so you sort of synced the happenings to specific times in the, like
exactly,
you divided the song into scenes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because the technology is more of a it's not yet designing shots per se, but more of transitions from different scenes or different shots. So I was describing the first shot, the second shot, the third shot, the first shot, and that's it. And the model produced like the streaming of it by itself. So so actually Roy did the first draft, but he didn't know yet then how to prompt. So I took his text and I rephrased it in order to be prompt-like with the style description and the basic structure of the prompt and whatever. And then after, I asked the model to generate it, and it generated like in an hour or so, it generated the full video. And from that moment on, you're facing the final result of your work, which is super exciting for an artist, because from the moment you're faced with the final result, it's way easier to edit and to make it better, because we know what we want to take out and where we want to change. But it's not all, we don't have to, I mean, in classical ways of making like a video, you have to imagine everything from the ground up, and you have to imagine as much details as you need, because the more you imagine the thing, you'll get more control. But here you're faced with the end result from the beginning of the work, and then the process is just of iterating and refining the product, which is super freeing from a creator's perspective.
Definitely. And you have like in traditional production, you only have one shot. You only have like 1 or 2 or 3 filming days, and then it's done. This is what you have to. You cannot go back to the studio, but here you can go back to the studio how many times you like.
Yeah, you're starting at the studio, and it is amazing. I mean, the classical process is like picking up as much details as you can in order to build the entire structure. And with this new method, this triangle is reversed. I mean, you're starting with the finished product and sculpting it to your specific needs.
Yeah. So
there's an amazing story about Leonardo da Vinci, which was asked, how do you make this very beautiful and accurate statue of a lion? And he says, I'm starting with a huge rock, and I'm taking out everything that's not a lion. And I think, the process now is beginning to be something like that. We're starting with the end result and picking out whatever we don't need, and
it's a reduction process. You start with everything and you end up with just the thing,
which is so freeing from our perspective.
Definitely, yeah. But I wanted to ask you about the issue with I mean, not the issue, the concept of prompting by keyframes. So I never understood, like, if you give the machine a prompt at frame 0 and then another prompt at frame 300, does it interpolate between 0 and 300, or does it go like with the same prompt from frame 0 until 299, and from 300 it starts, like, just as it reaches 300, it starts the interpolation?
Exactly. I mean, the instinct would be to think that it starts from 0, interpolating to 100, or 300, or whatever. But no, actually the code works that it iterates on the first prompt that you give it for 100 frames, and then in frame 100, when the prompt changes, it starts iterating the change and the next prompt, or it starts what it aims to the next prompt. But that's a technical thing. I mean, you could write it in 50 if you want to reach the full frame in 100.
Okay, and I wanted to ask you some stuff about the creation process, like some more say philosophical or theoretical stuff, like first of all, how do you see this new technology implemented in traditional? We talked about the traditional way separately and the new way separately, but how do you see the worlds collide in a way that is possible? Like right now, I'm sure that in 6 months you will have a totally different answer. But for example, I am a graphic designer, a motion artist. I receive a brief, and how would you like tackle it? How would you harness the technology to your needs without having to break your head open, understanding how they all mesh up together, and the client is happy, the resolution is right, like it seems like it's kind of a technological resolution that has new problems along with it, like it's a solution that brings new problems.
Of course it does. I'm facing them myself, yeah. For me, I'm just beginning to understand the limitations of this technology. I mean, it is a huge paradigm shift, which is very exciting and full of opportunities, but I'm sure we will encounter the limitations of the technology very soon. And there might be breakthroughs, but I don't know. It's really hard to imagine what the next evolutionary step will be for art and for artists.
What are the limitations as you see them right now?
I'm not sure. For instance, I'm not sure that I'm pretty sure that it will be able to produce video and even fine video, but I'm not sure we would be able to, not in the very near future, to be able to reproduce like very fine acting of humans that humans can. So replacing the actor in a scene would be, I think it's pretty far. I'm not sure yet, but it seems like generating true, deep, beautiful emotions like actors do would be a very hard step. And but I do imagine like a process of a few heads of department working together, like the guy that does art direction for the movie would still be needed in order to do art direction in the generated movie, and the guy that does the music would still need to generate music for the video, and the director, and all the main creation parts of the movies will still be needed as artists. The tools will be different. I mean, maybe they would not have to ship great trucks with lighting and cameras to a set. They would have to do it in front of their computers. But their talent will be still needed, I think.
Yeah, and there will always be a niche for it. It's like Tarantino still shoots a 70 millimeter film in a world where you have red cameras and you don't really need to. I mean, or people listening to vinyls in a world where MP3s is already here for like 20 or more years. But
yeah, my great concern is if there will come a time where we will not tell the difference between generated art, totally generated art, and human art. That would be a real, how do you call it?
a nightmare.
I don't know. I mean, it is.
No,
It is.
imagine a world where you open the TV and I mean, eventually this, as I see it, it's going to go to places where the people that own the technologies, they fucking own the world, you know, because you're going to open a television and whatever CNN or Fox or Channel 12 or 13 here in Israel tells you, this is the reality, but then it's not only word, they can show you like an atom bomb falling in Ukraine, which never really happened, you know. Now you have the technology to even fake like live events or visual events. It's not only words spoken by anchormen. So, I mean, the potential is definitely scary. And it's there. I just read, you know, a few days ago that someone was, I think it was on Vice, someone talking about like they took her face and they used it for a porno film. So it's the possibilities, like the dangerous possibilities are already here for a while now. I think like deepfake is not so new.
Yeah, we would have a hard time, finding the right signals from the noise. The noise will be enormous, and but I also think that, you know, I trust humans in a sort of way. I trust humans to reinvent themselves. So when art will be flattened by generated art, I'm for the human spirit, and I think I'm pretty sure great artists will be needed, and they will revitalize their art without inside this territory or beside this territory. I don't know, but I'm pretty convinced that the humans will prevail.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope that the technology won't eventually find us redundant and get rid of us. Yeah. So Itay, can you share a little bit about like your inspirations, things you look up to, things that give you the wow effect, that you say, wow, I want to create stuff like this, or I want my models to look like this? Or...
Okay, so I think that the territory is so new and there's so much things going on, and I'm just super excited by the novelty of it all. So everything is like filling me up with inspiration for now. I don't see any great art still made in the territory, not as like traditional art has made. But because of the novelty, everything is super exciting now. And I do see some use cases which are more exciting and more how do you say, more inspiring. Like I have a friend, you know, the 3D designer Yambo.
Of course, yeah.
So Yambo has been lately training, even with Astria, training some models on his own 3D art and generating. So the process was like I was training for him a small model, and I sent him some of my generations from his style. I was training on his style, and I sent it, and I told him, you got to train a model, and he was like, that's amazing. And he went to the service and trained the model and generated this amazing stuff that I wasn't really, I wasn't getting close to his generation, which just shows the power of the artist. Yes, because I was generating from mostly the same set that he was generating from, but he got such beautiful, exciting results, and it's helping him. You know, by talking to him, he told me that it's helping him mainly with ideation. it's like replacing his notebook. Instead of sketching ideas, he's producing them, and he can consider the different elements from this generation to this generation or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's using it to train his style and producing images, which later he's doing sculptures of, real physical sculptures of his image generations. So I think that's an amazing inspiration for me. That sort of utilizing the power of that instrument in order to do your shit, to do your art.
Yeah, definitely. I want to say a little bit about Yambo. First of all, is a great inspiration to me, and there were a few times when I went into Cinema 4D for the first time. I had like a ton of questions, and I just approached him on Instagram, and he's like the cutest person, like most down-to-earth person, answering every question I shot at him, and really supportive and amazing. And he's also always like adopting new technologies. He was like also diving into NFT when it was a thing, and he's like and his art is also like he was also like a pioneer working in the concept of like working as a network of people around the world. So you, at every point of the day, you have somebody working on part of the project. Like he had a team like in America, in Israel, in Europe. So it's super. I saw once a presentation he did on the OFF festival in Tel Aviv, and it was really eye-opening. And I think he of all people can like because he did lots of stuff that has like the examples you showed on the architectural 3D rendering. He did lots of this kind of stuff, and he of all people can know what is the effort of creating such renders. So now when you have the tools that can help you do these renders more easily, or the ideation of them more easily, it's surely a relief. And I wanted to also share my perspective on what you said about when it comes from certain people, like it's all in your mind eventually. Like you can come up with an idea or with a thought that is based on your experience in the field, and the results will be totally different. And I think the first time I saw like amazing art that came out of the machine, it was by Tal Baltuch. You know Tal Baltuch? For sure you know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I remember like the first time I saw stuff from Dali, it was by him, and I said, what the fuck? What did he write? You know, what was his prompt? So yeah, definitely when it comes from a brilliant mind, it looks different. Like it looks different from every mind, from every person. And I think this is part of the beauty of the thing, you know?
Actually, when it's months back, it seems like ancient history, but I also saw on the web like Yambo's first tries on DALL-E, or was it Open DALL-E or something like that, and it was incredible. So I texted him, will you be willing to share your prompt for this and this image? Because I had no idea how he did it. And he shared the prompt, and it was like, I was so disappointed. The prompt was, I told him, you have no secrets here. It's just, describing the, wow. I mean, there's no secret tweaking technical stuff. I always think that the next automatic extension or the next new thing will close the hole in my soul. No, it's just art creation. That hole is there to stay. It's okay.
Yeah, definitely. And eventually it's like the simpler you go with a prompt, maybe at least in Midjourney, the less words you use, the better the result is. Because if you like start to bombard the machine with words, it kind of gets confused. And also if you take sorry?
No, I'm saying we're narrowing down. I mean, this democratization of this technology, that the thing that it gives so much power to everybody, it narrows down at the end to some small, great ideas. I mean, that's the beauty of this thing,
Yeah,
I think.
definitely. And also, if you take like the same prompt, like if Yambo gives you the prompt and you use the exact same prompt, eventually you come up with a different result. You know, this is crazy. Even if you yourself write the same prompt twice or three times, the results will be different to an extent.
Not necessarily. I mean, you can.
Unless you use seeds.
I mean,
yeah.
Exactly, fix the seed. I mean, that's the basic step for a true consistent iterating.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, Itay, thanks a lot for this super interesting conversation. Thank you for your time and your patience. Really appreciate it. And we'll be in touch. I'll keep following your development with Astria and with AI in general. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks, man. It's been a pleasure.
Mine as well. Bye-bye. Thanks.